What's up, y'all? This is your girl, Megan. Welcome back to my channel if you're already a subscriber. And if this is your first time joining me on today, look, you see that subscribe button? Click it because you know you want to. So today I'm going to be doing a free reading. I announced a while back that I was going to start doing those because, after all, I'm still a student of astrology when it's all said and done. I am not too good to pay my dues, and I'm just always looking for an opportunity to, perfect my craft and get better and really just give back to the people who enjoy my content. Because I love you. You know I do. So if you want to qualify for a free reading, I'll put my email address in the description box below. Hit me up, and in the email, put free reading in the subject line, and then ask whatever question you want to ask, or just give me the rundown on whatever you want insight on, and I will do my best to get to you. Okay? So this young lady that I'm going to do a reading on tonight, she did not tell me whether she wanted me to disclose her name, so I'm not, just to be on the safe side. But I'm pretty sure you'll know who I'm talking to once I start getting into the letter and the birth date and time and all that shit. Okay, so her email reads, "Hi, I'm Miss Lady. I'm going to call you Miss Lady. I was born on September 6, 1998 at 7:41 p.m. in Philly, Pennsylvania. I have a Virgo sun, Pisces moon, and rising, and 4 planets in retrograde in my chart. Lord have mercy. My main question is, will I be able to find peace in this life, or will I be plagued with a constant inner conflict for the rest of my days?" Y'all know that song? Yes. For the rest of our day, and we will. It's late, y'all. I'm sleepy. But yeah. So I feel like I'm in between two different worlds. Ugh. What about love? I believe I met one of my soulmates. It just might be a karmic bond, but what does he? No, I think you meant what is he here to teach me? I realize that this is something I have to figure out, but it's worth a shot. He was born on October 29, 1996 at 2:16 a.m. Brooklyn, son, New York. Deadass. She didn't say that. I just said that. But always, thanks, sis. Hope to hear from you. Peace and blessings. Well, sis, never fear. I'm here. And I looked at your chart. Girl, girl, let me pull up your stuff because we have some tea to spill. So let's get started, shall we? So getting to your main question, which is pretty much, will I ever be able to find inner peace, because you feel like you're torn and you're just in this state of inner turmoil. So you want to know if you'll be able to resolve that, or if you'll just be pretty much, down and out for the rest of your days. And so right off bat, I see that you have a lot of Piscean energy in your chart, because as you stated, you do have your moon in the sign of Pisces is at the 21st degree, and it's conjoined to not only your ascendant in Pisces, but also your Jupiter and your south node, okay, at the 0 degree of Pisces. So you got a lot going on there. And Pisces pretty much deals with victimization anyway, victimization and an inability to let go of the past. And I see exactly what's causing this inner tension and turmoil. You have your sun opposite your moon, and both your sun and your moon are conjoined to your lunar node. So your sun is conjoined to your north node in your 7th house, your descendant sign of Virgo, with your moon conjoined to your south node in your ascendant of Pisces. Girl. So first off, this aspect in and of itself points towards somebody who struggles between what they want and what they need, right? So I know you said you felt like you were pulled in, like you're living in between two different worlds, literally. And this opposition, oftentimes, even in some of the more extreme cases, points towards people who are manic depressive, who have very, very like emotional reactions to things, especially with your South Node being conjoined to your moon in Pisces. You may be a very sensitive person, or people around you may perceive you to be that way. You wear your emotions on your sleeve. This placement of your moon, Jupiter, and South Node in Pisces could point towards you coming from a lifetime, like a previous lifetime or a recent lifetime, of focusing on yourself, being self-centered in a way that would consist of you holding on to issues, very much concerned with, your feel, kind of like a person who puts their feelings over the feelings of other people, even if it's done subconsciously and you're not aware of it. Somebody who is very sensitive, like I said, very moody, okay, because the moon by itself it fluctuates. And when you add Jupiter to the mix in the South Node, this could make you, like I said, manic depressive. Actually, I don't know what your mental health is like. I'm not trying to be funny, but if you've had any type of mental health issues, that could definitely be explained with this aspect. But this could also point towards you perceiving yourself as being a lifelong victim or feeling sorry for yourself. And this could potentially turn into a self-fulfilling prophecy where you just end up attracting people who are going to victimize you anyway. So that's one world that you're living in, so to speak. But then meanwhile, on the other hand, you have your sun, which is sitting in your 7th house of relationships, of marriage, in the sign of Virgo, conjoined to your North Node and your Venus, which is essentially the planet of relationships. So this is somebody who pretty much is very relationship oriented. This placement tells me here that, and I know you said you thought you found your soulmate. Girl, you always thinking you finding your soulmate. And if you haven't, there'll be plenty more times in your life where you'll come across a guy and you'll wonder if he's right for you, if he's the one, because that's naturally what you're predisposed to do with your Sun, Venus, and North Node in your house of marriage and relationships. You look to validate yourself through other people subconsciously. So, and even just from a karmic perspective, you were placed here in this lifetime to forge meaningful relationships and to be of service, right? Because Virgo is the sign of service to other people. But the problem comes when you do that to your detriment, which a lot of people with this placement seem to do. So the first thing that you can do to kind of offset this imbalance and this disconnect between your emotional wants and what you need is to, number one, understand that nothing in life is black and white, okay? And with that being said, it's okay to seek out other people, but then there are moments and times where it's also okay to seek yourself. And ultimately, you should seek yourself first, because if you don't learn to establish self, right? Because the first house, the natural ruler of the first house is Aries, and Aries is the I am. So if you don't develop your I am, it's going to be essentially like impossible to forge relationships with people in that descendant position of the 7th house, which is, naturally ruled by Libra. Okay. Relationships are a no-go if you don't understand who you are first and foremost. And given that you have a tendency to focus on the I am, in previous lifetimes, and that's kind of your comfort zone, it's okay to not completely abandon that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Don't lose yourself. And because that's the disconnect that you're feeling, because these are like literally two polar opposite concepts that are sitting in the back of your psyche that you're kind of trying to reconcile. Being a person who wants to be for yourself versus being a person who longs and craves connection and partnership. And with your North Node placement, because you're still young, so it's more than likely going to be the case that spirit is going to test you, baby. It's going to test you. And it's going to test you by sending you very deceptive, nefarious ass niggas. Or just people in general. Friends, acquaintances. You have your Neptune at the 29th degree of Capricorn in your 11th house of friends, peers, social organizations, collective societies. So, yeah, that kind of just reinforces this whole theme of you attracting people who may not be all that they crack up to be. There might be some sort of dishonesty in the picture, some sort of illusions being painted. And this energy is compounded upon with the fact that your Neptune is making a square to your Black Moon Lilith. And your Lilith is sitting in your 8th house, which is in the sign of Libra. And Libra is the natural ruler of what? Your 7th house of what? Relationships. And your Lilith is at the 29th degree also, aka the crisis degree. Oh, Lord have mercy. So, in all actuality, you could be attracting guys who are already in full-blown relationships, men who have issues with committing to like one person. But we'll get to that later because I looked at your homeboy's chart. I don't know if y'all still, are talking because I think you wrote me last month. So I don't know if you guys are like involved or how that situation is progressing. But girl, we need to talk. But we'll get to that later. It's a lot of Decepticons that are going to be headed your way, sweetie. And you got to be prepared because there are going to be a lot of people that are going to tempt you into feeling like you want relationships or, it's going to trigger that instinctual reaction. I mean, because that's what your identity, your ego, your sun is rooted in, your ability to be attached to somebody else. But the real challenge lies in your ability to use your gift of discernment. And by discernment, I just mean your ability to determine whether that person is worthy of you actually committing yourself to, whether it be like an interpersonal relationship, a friendship, a business relationship, or even an intimate relationship. The point is, as time goes on, you'll do a better job of learning which energy to tap into and being better able to discern who is worthy of your companionship, period. And so another thing that I also see with this lunar node placement is that some people also tend to be indecisive or perhaps even confused or not really know what they want. Or maybe you attract people who are confused and don't really know what they want. Hence the whole theme of you attracting men who probably are already in relationships or guys who are already seeing other women, especially with their energy from the 29th degree, because that naturally just creates third party situations anyway. You know what I'm saying? So that's something to be mindful of as well. And usually this will get better with age because the potency of that north node on your sun tends to weaken after age 35. So as you get older, a lot of those more negative manifestations of like your sun and your Venus and north node in the 7th house, they will subside. But just keep in mind, balance is key. And if you don't do this, more than likely you'll create situations to where not only will you become like fucked over, you could even be victimized. Like I said, put yourself in a position where you're kind of fulfilling that self prophecy of being taken advantage of, even being stuck in codependent relationships, third party situations. I mean, toxic relationships. And you also have Venus square Pluto. And that's, people with that aspect tend to be prone towards like abuse, violence, or not. That's on the more extreme side. But, even at best, just very intense, transformative type of relationships that are just full of drama and stress and unnecessary shit. And this kind of segues into your second concern in regards to Mr. Man, homeboy, partner. Now, I didn't really just like, go through his chart with a fine tooth comb or anything. I just kind of put it up, glanced at it. Let me pull it back up here. And there were, a few things I saw in addition to like certain components in your chart that, it just kind of further proved my inkling that I don't think he's the one. And, you asked, what do you think he's here to teach you? And I think he's here to teach you that you're going to feel like this again and again and again. Essentially, he'll be here to teach you to learn how to depend on yourself, sis. Don't depend on these niggas. Okay? And he's, Lord have mercy. First of all, his sun and moon combination is the same as future. So let that sink
in. Sensational. And that's the word you're looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah, sensational.
He's a Scorpio sun, Gemini moon. Goddamn. I also couldn't help but to notice that his sun is actually conjoined to your Chiron, because you have your Chiron in the sign of Scorpio, and in synastry, which isn't really my specialty, but that's not a good thing. This often points towards there being some type of incompatibility there, like on a core level. But, there are other things to take into consideration. I don't really do synastry charts, but let's get into the fact that his Venus is at the 29th degree, though. And this could produce somebody who has, like, very overindulgent tendencies, or even a guy who has no issues being led astray. He could wander off into different directions with different women. There's this need to, indulge in those sensual, carnal pleasures. And the fact that you have indicators in your chart that suggests that you attract men who bring you third party situations, this doesn't surprise me. And his Mars is also at the 29th degree of Leo. And that, once again, that 29th degree, 29 in and of itself does bring about third party situations. And then when you take into the fact that Mars is your planet, like, of sex, your sex drive, he could actually have issues with, like, a wandering eye. You know what I'm saying? If you guys were to actually be in a serious committed relationship. Maybe you are by now. I don't know. But just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And then that Gemini moon, he's going to always want new experiences. And he's always going to be, kind of like a social butterfly, like always looking for the next best thing, the next new thing. There's this need to constantly keep his attention because he will stray, you know what I'm saying, if not stimulated. And the fact that his Venus and his Mars are compromised like that, be careful, baby. Be careful. So I hope this resonated and you were able to get something meaningful out of this reading. But yeah, let me know. You can email me. Let me know your comments, questions, concerns. I'll be more than happy to discuss them with you. And anybody else, once again, if you are interested in a free reading yourself, go ahead on and, hit me up and we can make it happen. So with that being said, you guys make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until next time, I holla.